Now that they've been sentenced to prison, I can reveal the fate of the healthcare power couple, Alexandra Gehrke and her husband, Jeffrey King, whose wound care Graft put close to $615 million in their pockets, albeit temporarily. Originally the subject of my February 2025 post, Gehrke ran two companies, Apex Medical LLC and Viking Medical Consultants LLC, that recruited sales reps to locate elderly patients with any kind of wound. The goal? Order expensive amniotic wound grafts, whether or not they were necessary, from a specific kickback-paying distributor. Gehrke dictated that all grafts had to be 4 by 6 centimeters or larger because Medicare and other payers reimburse based on wound graft size, and maximizing billable centimeters meant maximizing illegal profits. Gehrke referred the patients to a company co-owned by her husband, King, which contracted with nurse practitioners. Gehrke and King directed the nurse practitioners to suspend their own medical judgment and apply all grafts ordered by the sales representatives, even when they were medically unreasonable and completely unnecessary. Healed wound, grafted anyway. Infected wound, throw a graft on top. Wound not responding, keep slapping more grafts on. Gehrke pocketed over $279 million in kickbacks from the graft distributor and spread tens of millions of dollars in illegal kickbacks to her sales team to keep the scheme rolling along. Following their guilty plea, Gehrke was sentenced to 15 and a half years in federal prison, and her husband, Mr. King, to 14 years in federal prison. As additional punishment, Gehrke was ordered to pay more than $614 million in restitution and to forfeit more than $279 million in fraudulent proceeds, and King was ordered to pay over $605 million in restitution and to forfeit more than $130 million in fraudulent proceeds. And as if that weren't enough, in a companion civil case, Gehrke and the wound graft marketing company she owned, Apex Medical LLC, agreed to pay close to $280 million, and King agreed to pay $30 million related to their respective civil liability under the False Claims Act. To satisfy your schadenfreude, that totals more than $1.94 billion. To amplify your anger, the response of the federal government, CMS in particular, to the spate of wound care fraud that ensued over the last decade or so was that beginning in January 2026, graft material will be removed from treatment as a higher-priced biological reimbursed by Medicare at many thousands of dollars into a single blended rate of less than $130. And to keep yourself out of trouble, whether or not you can tell the difference between a wound care graft and a walker, the general lessons of Gehrke and King's fraud and downfall are applicable. Seems simple, but kickbacks are illegal. It's a simple rule, but one that fraudsters keep on forgetting. Seemingly innocent physicians and other practitioners often get swept up in the scam by not questioning why someone other than the payer is paying them or giving them something of value. Just because a medical procedure is billable doesn't mean it's ethical or legal. When wound care starts looking like a Wall Street hedge fund strategy, something's off. But it doesn't have to be wound care, And it doesn't have to be you who's doing it. For example, many a physician has been caught up in a scam run by his or her employees within the practice. The money didn't hit your pocket, but the claims were sent out under your name. Facility-based practitioners aren't exempt. For example, anesthesiologists have become embroiled in fraudulent billing scams as a result of medically unnecessary cases being performed by scamster surgeons at ASCs. In other cases, the cases were never actually performed, but they were billed, including under the anesthesiologist's name and billing number. The government is watching with healthcare fraud investigations ramping up. The feds are cracking down. If you think you can sneak $1.2 billion past Medicare, you got to think again. Employees will talk. These scams often unravel because someone on the inside decides they'd rather be a whistleblower than an accomplice. Medicare might be a retirement plan, but Medicare fraud isn't. Shortcuts to healthcare wealth can lead straight to a jail cell. Compliance isn't optional, and the government always gets the last word.